Alright, welcome back. It is now part 11 of the How to Play Catan series, and we are nearing the end of our very first game. So the starting player marker has moved to this player, and that player is now going to go ahead and move the location marker to the event draw step, which means that he will draw first, and then this player will draw an event card as well. Next, the starting player will go ahead and move the marker to the city event card draw step, and they will draw and flip over the final card, moving it to the discard pile, which means that we now have 6 city cards in this deck, which means that we are on our last round, our 6th and last round for this game. The reason we're playing with 6 rounds instead of 8 is because of this game changer card, the first game changer card. The starting player will go ahead and read aloud the title, A Change of Plans, and what happens? It's an injunction event, which could be blocked with a blue injunction action card. It says, from the park cards in your hand, choose one to keep and discard the others. That's a bit difficult. Okay, so both players are obviously going to want to block this if they can. Thankfully, this player doesn't have any park cards in his hand, so he doesn't have to do anything. It only affects park cards. However, this player does have some park cards. He needs to look at his cards and decide whether he's willing to keep one and throw away the others, or if he can block it. Let's see if he has a blue matching icon. He doesn't have one there. He doesn't have one there. He does have one there. Okay. So he could potentially block it, but he'd give up the ability to build an upgrade for free. Now, let's look at his upgrades, right? He has 2 upgrades here. One of them is a pirate theme, one's a comfortable seating. Neither of them are necessary to complete his blueprints this round. He'd rather get this one built for free because it's so expensive. So he's going to probably just discard this and not spend any of his event cards. Thankfully, he only had 2 cards, so he really only had to get rid of half, but it would have been painful if he had like 5 red park cards and he could only keep one and had to discard all the rest. Alright, the starting player now moves to the event play stage, and since he's the starting player, he's the first one to play an event. Now, of course, he is going to go ahead and look at his event cards here. He knows that he needs a sideshow in order to complete his blueprint, and he's definitely going to go ahead and find that sideshow that got placed in the park discard pile. So he's going to go ahead and discard this, place this over here. He's going to look through it. Now, there was this sideshow here, the freak show, but I believe he saw one other in here as well. So he's going to go ahead and keep searching until he finds the other sideshow as well. Leisure Ride, Food Outlet, ooh. Alright. So he sees that there's actually 2 sideshows available. There's this one and this one. This amusement arcade has 2 themes on it, 2 icons on it already, and says after you build it, you may immediately build an upgrade for free onto it. This one just gives you an extra coin. This one isn't worth any stars. This one is. This one's more expensive. This isn't. Now, it's the last round of the game, so he's probably going to care more about icons than making money. And since he has plenty of money to pay for it, he's going to go ahead and place this amusement arcade in his hand. Alright, and that's what it says, put it in your hand. So he places that into his hand, and then all these other ones have to be placed back in the discard pile. And there we go, they're back in the discard pile. And so now this player has taken, played one of his event cards, so it's time for this player to play an event card. Now, he is in trouble a little bit, because in order to complete this one, or actually that one's complete, in order to complete this blueprint, he's going to need 2 special elements on his thrill ride, which he doesn't have yet. He needs a corkscrew and a splashdown element. Right now, he only has a sea serpent roll. So he's definitely going to try to search the park discard pile as well. Let's see what he can do. That's build an upgrade for free. This one is reveal the top card of the park deck, build it for free. That's a possibility, but he doesn't think there's many left in the park deck. Close and build attractions for half price upgrades. Gain 5 coins or close an attraction. Alright. Well, I think what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and give his shot at this. Reveal the top card of the park deck and build it in your park immediately for free if possible. Otherwise, put it in your hand. He's going to go ahead and discard this. Take the top card of the park discard park pile, and look at that. He actually got a corkscrew element. So it's in his hand, but he can now build it later this turn. He may actually get that blueprint complete. Alright, back to this player. Does he want to play another event card? He does. So he's going to go ahead and take it as action instead of passing. He's going to go ahead and play the Media Blitz, which gives him 8 extra stars this round. Of course, the problem is he's already kind of maxing out, so he wouldn't really be able to get that many more stars. But because he's demolishing an attraction, well, he could also do something bad to this other player. He could choose a feature and demolish it. He could demolish my Sea Serpent Volt. So he's going to do that. He's going to discard this and demolish my Sea Serpent Volt. But I am desperate to keep that. So I'm going to go ahead and block it with this card right here, even though I now can't use the top of the card. But at least I can block it with this injunction blocking action. And now he just wasted a card, but I also wasted an action card. Alright, he played his card, I blocked it, now it's back to me. Do I want to play an action card? Of course, he was trying to do something bad to me. So I had to decide whether I'm going to gain 5 coin or close an attraction in his park. I'm going to go ahead and close an attraction in his park. So I'm going to discard this, and I want to go ahead and close his massive thrill ride. So I'm closing that. He can't get any star value from that this round. And now it's back to him. He's going to go ahead and play an action card. Does he want to demolish a quality or theme upgrade in my park? Or does he want to pay half price for upgrades? He's going to go ahead and demolish a quality or theme upgrade in my park because he's feeling confident. He would like to demolish the pirate theme because I don't have any quality upgrades, but I have a pirate theme. The question is, can I block his with a blue fist? Do I have a blue fist to block? No, I do not. So he's going to go ahead and just take that pirate theme right out of there and put that in the discard pile. So now he's basically stolen a star from me and a theme icon and an icon. So now it is back to me. Do I want to play an event card? Of course I do. I'm going to go ahead and tit for tat. I'm going to go ahead and demolish a quality of theme upgrade in his park. I want to go over here, Nook. He obviously has a pirate theme. He doesn't have any quality themes, upgrades, but do I want to take robot or pirate? I'd rather take pirate because he has a lot of icons in that attraction, and by taking away icons, you significantly hurt his ending points value. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out, and there it's gone. Little do I know that he needed that pirate theme icon on his seafood restaurant in order to complete his blueprint. So I've hurt him twice as much as I actually intended, which is painful. This is the unfair part of the game. Alright, now I've played an event card. He passes because he doesn't have any more to play. I pass because I don't have any more to play. The starting player moves the marker to the park step 1, and it is that player's turn, the starting player's turn, to build from the market, build from his hand. Obviously, he first needs to demolish an attraction before he can put a new attraction in. So he's going to go ahead and use his action to demolish this one card. Now, the action is basically you can demolish one card. You can either take away an upgrade or take away an attraction, but it always has to be the top. So you can't take away an attraction until you've first taken away one of the theme. You've knocked down all the upgrades on it in order. But luckily, this didn't have any upgrades, so you can just demolish this directly. It's sad for him. He's going to put that in the discard, and that was his action. Now, this empty space stays. That's an empty lot now in his park, and he's going to build something on it in his future action. My turn to do something. Obviously, I am really looking to build that corkscrew element. So I'm going to go ahead and pay the 6 coins that it costs to put it onto my roller coaster. And there it is. I now have a Sea Serpent Volt and a corkscrew element. Looking at my blueprint, I also need a splashdown element, but I'm running out of time. And I could get a bonus for the flagpole if I complete that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it at all. I'm probably not going to be able to, because he has a splashdown element on his park, but I can't steal it because I'm out of action cards. So I may just fail that blueprint, and that's going to be sad. Alright, so back to him. He is the starting player, so he moves the marker to park step 2, and he has to decide what to do. Now, he needs desperately another pirate theme icon on that dining establishment, but for now, what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and build this amusement arcade for 13 coin. Well, first he's going to actually consider the ramifications, right? Because here's his 2 blueprints. He needs a food outlet, a sideshow, and a theater to get 16 points. And then if he can complete that, he also automatically gets this because he also has leisure ride and a thrill ride. If he has a pirate theme icon, he only gets 10, so it's definitely a better deal to get this than that. So he's going to try to finish this blueprint. He's going to go ahead and pay the full 13 price. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, build that sideshow. But it says after you build this attraction, you may immediately build an upgrade onto it from your hand for free. Fortunately, he doesn't have any upgrades in his hand, so he won't be able to do that. He could have waited till a later action and maybe built it the very final thing, waiting until he had something in his hand, but we're running out of time. He just went ahead and did it. All right, so now it's back to me. My player needs to decide what to do, and I'm in trouble. I could build this pirate theme, wouldn't help me meet any of my obligations. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and discard this, draw 5 of these, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have to reshuffle this deck in order to draw 2 more. All right, it's been reshuffled. 4, 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at them and hope that there's a splashdown element in there somewhere that I can take. There's an air conditioning, a flagpole, a robot theme, a comfortable seating, and a superior quality. So there were none. I better just choose the thing that gives me the most icons. And of course, let's take a look at this. Flagpole would be nice. Whew, okay. I'm just going to have to go ahead and build the flagpole for 8. It has to go into your largest attraction, which means largest number of icons. So I'm going to pay the 8 to build that flagpole onto my largest attraction and hope that I can get that splashdown element before the end of the game. Okay, that flagpole's been added to the top of my water slide, and now I'm going to need to, it's too bad because the water slide has a built-in splashdown element, but the blueprint says that the splashdown element has to be on a thrill ride, and the water slide is considered a leisure ride. Alright, so I've taken my park step action 2, and now the starting player moves it to park step action 3, and this is for all the money in China. Neither of the players have activated the park step 4 with an action card, and since this is the last round, there's no more cards. This is for all the money in the game. So the player really has to decide what's going to get the most bang for the buck in this very last step. Now they meet all the requirements for this blueprint because they have a theater, they have a food outlet, they have a sideshow, and they also meet the bonus requirements of having a thrill ride and a leisure ride. So they're going to be fine for completing this blueprint right here. However, they have the bonus target of the swinging ship for this blueprint, but they don't have a food outlet with a pirate theme icon on it right now. And there are no pirate theme icons here. But if they were to go ahead and draw right now, they wouldn't have an extra action later to build it. So they're going to have to just give that up for loss. They won't be able to complete that blueprint at all. So what can they do to maximize their outcome here? Well, they could spend money on something that gives them an extra icon, I suppose. But here's the deal. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 icons on this. And if you look at your player summary card, 4 icons are worth 16 points. But they can't add any more upgrades without demolishing that flagpole first. So their next best is to go from 3 to 4 icons on one of these attractions. 3 to 4 is going to jump you from 12 to 16, so it gives you 4 extra victory points. But 4 extra victory points is the same as 8 coins. So it has to be cost less than 8 coins to be worth it. They're going to go ahead and look here and see if there's anything worth less than 8 coins that would give them an extra boost. Well, in this case, the vending machine can't be put on a food outlet, so they couldn't put it on there. But they could put restrooms on the food outlet. That only costs 3. But this costs less for an icon, and they could build that on the leisure ride. So they're going to go ahead and spend the least amount of money possible, just 2 coin, and they're going to go ahead and build it on the swinging ship. So it boosts the ship from 3 to 4 icons while spending the least amount of money. And that will conserve their money for conversion into points later in the game. Now this player is bummed out because they know they won't be able to complete their blueprint in time. And if the game was longer, if we hadn't been playing with this first date game changer card and it was a normal 8-round game, they probably would have been able to complete it. So you can see how important those game changers are because they really changed the whole way the game works. This was a fast game, even though we've been working through it really slowly, and I've been talking about all the strategy as we go through. So now this starting player has already completed their 3rd park step. They flip over a card to fill that hole in the marketplace. And there's the pirate thing that they should have wanted to build, but now they don't have a chance to. It's a bummer. Alright, so this player's turn now to build something, and they still don't have a splashdown element. They don't have time to draw one because they don't have any more extra actions to go. So they're in a lot of trouble right now. The question is, what in the world are they going to do? Well, they better build the same thing. Cheapest possible thing for the most points. Here is a restroom for 3. That's the cheapest thing between their hands and the marketplace that gives you an icon. And they're going to go ahead and select that. And they're going to go ahead and build it on the only thing they can build it on, which is going to be their Florida's roller coaster. They can't build it on here because they've topped it off with a flagpole. So they're going to pay those 3 coin, get 2 coin back in change, and build it onto their roller coaster. And there's the restrooms. All right. So now that both players we've gone all the way around the table clockwise, and everyone's had a chance to do their third park action. We skipped the park 4 action because nobody could do it. And now we move to the guest step. All right. The guest step is critical. Now it's time to add things up. Now, in the cleanup phase last round, we completely forgot to flip this cast member who had been sent on Caribbean vacation over. So she is active this round. That's my mistake. Just like closed attractions that are turned upside down, you also rehire or welcome back employees who were turned over from previous rounds during the cleanup phase. All right. So now we count up the stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we can't count this because it's closed. So 6 stars equals 6 guests wanting to come to the park. That's within the 15 guest limit. So you get coin for every single one of those. And then this one says once per guest step, you choose an open ride attraction. So we can't choose that, but we could choose this ride attraction. And we get twice its stars. Now, unfortunately, the monorail's gone, so we don't get 3 times 2. We get 2 times 2. So that's not bad. That's 4 extra coin that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise if we didn't have that staff member in our park. All right. And that's all that this player will receive in coins this round. All right, back here, we need to add up our stars. We have 1 star plus 1 equals 2, plus 2 equals 4, plus 2 equals 6, plus 1 equals 7, plus 2 equals 9. So 9 stars. We don't have anything that boosts our stars, so we're just going to go ahead and get the 9 because that's well within our capacity. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we don't have anything that impacts more money, so we're also done with our guest step. The starting player moves the marker to the cleanup phase. First thing we do, of course, is we flip over any cards which have been turned upside down, and we're not discarding any pinned event cards because there aren't any. So this attraction over here does reopen. That'll be useful for final scoring. Then we clear and refill the market. In this case, we don't have to refill the market because the round is over. There will be no more drawing of park cards. So all we have to do is just put those in the discard pile, so that way we're not going to be worried about them when we come to final scoring. Next, of course, we need to discard down to 5 cards in hand. In this case, it's the end of the game, so it doesn't matter what cards you have in your hand. So everyone will just put any remaining event cards that are in their hands into the event card discard pile, and any remaining park cards in their hands into the park discard pile. Then advance the starting player marker. In this case, it doesn't matter because the game is over, the rounds are done, so it doesn't matter who has the starting player token. We're just going to put it over here by the side of the board. And now, of course, it is time to go into final scoring. All right, so I've brought up the Unfair website, which is located at unfairgame.com, unfair-game.com, and they have the handy scoring app, the digital app that I mentioned earlier. You click on that link, and you scroll down, and you click on Proceed to Scoring App. And this is a smart app, so it means it's going to do most of the math for you. I like how it says now with almost no math. All right, now the first thing it asks is if you have any promo cards. Promotional cards are cards that the game developer gave to people who were helping support the game when it was being developed, like on Kickstarter. Unfortunately, none of these cards come in the base game because these cards are only available to people who back the game in its early development. So we skip those cards and move to next. It asks if we've played with any game changers. Now, I mentioned earlier you can play with any number of game changers, including 0, but we were playing with 1, and we were playing with the first date card, which means that the app is now automatically going to know that we didn't play with any showcase cards, and we played with fewer, it knows that we played with fewer blueprint cards, and we had a shorter game. So then we move to the next step, and that's with theme packs. Now, if you notice closely, the whole alphabet is here from A to Z, but most of them are grayed out because no expansion, no theme decks have been released for those letters yet. Here's Western, Vampire, Pirate, Robot, Jungle, Dinosaur, B-Movie, Alien, Gangster, Ninja. We played with Pirate, so we click on that one, and we played with Robot this time. Those are the two theme packs we played with. So we click those and go to next. Now the app knows that we only had two theme packs, so we only had 2 players. We're going to go ahead and type in the people's name. But we're just going to go player 1, and we're just going to say player 2. So it's just going to be simple, where you could put in your real names or your nicknames if you wanted to. Now player 1 is going to be this person right here, so we have to just remember that. It asks you the number of icons in each of the attractions. It remembers that you can only have a maximum of 5 attractions in your park, especially with this deck we're playing with. So we look at the first attraction in the park. We only have 2 attractions. The first attraction has 1, 2, 3, 4 icons. We're only looking at the left side for scoring. So we go over here and we plug in the number 4. Now on the second attraction, we have a different number. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 icons, including that flagpole. And so we go ahead and type in the number 6. We don't have any more attractions in our park, so we click to next. Now it asks the same questions of player 2. And so we come over here, we can see that the first attraction has 2 icons, 1, 2, the robot theme and the sideshow icon. So we're going to enter the number 2. And then over here you can see that this second attraction has 1, 2, 3 icons. Let me move that token out of the way a little bit so you can see better. So we're going to plug in 3. Then we're going to move down to the next line and ask for how many icons are in the third attraction. There is going to be 1. So we just type in 1. Then on the next attraction, number 4, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 icons. So we type that in here as well, 4 icons. And then finally for the 5th attraction, 1, 2, 3, 4 icons. So we come back over here and we type in 4. Alright, so this player did maximize his park. Maybe not his park's entire potential, but now we look at blueprints. So back to player 1, we're going to look and see what he completed. The player was able to build an attraction with 3 different guest services upgrades. Look right here. This is an attraction. It says so right there. And it has lockers and coat check upgrade guest services, information kiosk upgrade guest services, and restrooms upgrade guest services. So we're going to go ahead and put in the completed point value of 12. We're going to just type that in right here. The required zone was completed, and we got 12. There was no bonus on the bottom of the card. There was no bonus section because it was just an easy card. Now we look at his second blueprint. His second blueprint required a thrill ride with a corkscrew element, a splashdown element, and a sea serpent roll. Unfortunately, he only had a thrill ride with a sea serpent roll and a corkscrew element. He didn't have that splashdown element by the end of the game. So it says, if incomplete, you have a penalty of 10 points. So we simply just go ahead and click on failed right here. We don't even worry about the bonus because we didn't finish the required first. So now we go to next. Now this player over here was a little bit more successful. Player 2 managed to get a theater, a food outlet, a sideshow, a thrill ride, and a leisure ride. 5 different types of attractions, and you can see that over here. It says sideshow, food outlet, theater, leisure ride, thrill ride. So he completes the required section and the bonus section, which is 16 plus 8. So over here, we type in 16, and then we type in 8. Alright, now let's look at his second blueprint. He needed to build a food outlet with a pirate theme icon. Unfortunately, because I stole that, he doesn't have that anymore. So he did not complete, and he has the penalty. So we just go over here, and we click failed for a second blueprint. We don't worry about any of the other blueprints because he didn't have any more. Now we look at number of coins for each player. Player 1, over here, has quite a few coins. I'm going to go ahead and condense them for us. There we go. You can see that this player had 25 plus 5 plus 3, which equals 33 coins. So we go over here and type it. Now it rounds it down by half. So actually 16 victory points is how much player 1 received for his coinage. Player number 2 over here has 25 plus 5 plus 5, which is 35, plus 3 makes 38. So he had a little bit more coinage at the end of the game. This is going to be a tight game because, remember, this player is going to lose some points here pretty soon from taking out his loan, but he seems to be ahead in every other regard, so I wonder how it will work out. Now we look at points from staff members. Player 1 happens to have 2 staff members, one who's worth 6 victory points, one who's worth 3 at the end of the game. So you have those together, you put 9 in this spot right there. This other player only has 1 staff member, but she receives 50 points at the end of the game. So you go ahead and add that in. Now we go ahead and click on next and see what's up. Okay, loans. Now player 1 didn't take out any loans. His loan card is still upside down. So we don't worry about that. We leave it on 0. Player 2 took out some loans. Let's find out how many. Currently, from player 2's perspective, it says minus 30. That means they took out 1, 2, 3 loans. So we're going to go ahead and click on 3. And now go down to next. All right, here's the totals. These are just the raw data. Player 1 ended up with 68 victory points at the end of the game. Player 2 was so close at 60. See how close that game was? Let's go ahead and check out the details here. You can see, here's the breakdown. With these 2 decks and these 2 players, here's how it worked. You can see that player 2 was far superior in the number of attractions. These are the icons on each attraction and the upgrades. You can see player 2 had more than 16 extra points from attraction icons. Player 2 also got way more points from blueprints. Even though player 2 was unable to complete one blueprint, player 2 wasn't penalized as much for not completing another blueprint. So ended up with a lot more, 12 more points from blueprints. Player 2 also had a little bit more money, so got 3 more points from money. Player 1 did have a little bit more points from staff members, only by 6, but player 2 got huge penalty for taking out that loan, which was probably what fueled all this growth. So in the end, player 1 won out just by 5 points. Now you can see why this is an interesting game, because there were so many different ways to receive points. Player 2 thought the gamble of taking out some loans would pay off in the end, and it almost did. If the game had been just a little bit longer, probably player 2 would have come out on top, while player 1 was still trying to get that extra splashdown element. But these blueprints can be both helpful and painful. The loans can be helpful and painful as well. Now, of course, we played this entire game as a shortened version because we were using the Game Changer card. In the next game that we play, we will use the exact same 2 decks. We will use Robot and Pirates, so we are familiar with the decks and how they work. But we'll use a different Game Changer, one that will let us have a full game of 8 rounds, and we'll also be able to play with the difficult blueprints staying in the deck, and with the showcase cards. That will feel like an entirely different game because the strategies will be completely different. Alright, I'll see you then, and for now, I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning up.